So relationships are really good in Tableau, and they cover like 90% of the cases that we want to deal with, but they don't cover everything. So we do need some specialized tools to help us close the gap. One of those tools is unions. So a union is the concatenation of data frames. That is like I just take one data frame and I put it at the end of another data frame and I put it at the end of another data frame and I kind of smush them together row-wise. So concatenation is a general mathematical term. I could concatenate column-wise, like put columns next to each other. But when we're talking about unions in Tableau, we're talking about concatenating row-wise. So the big idea here is that oftentimes we have data sets that were generated by the same process, but for whatever reason are separate. So we have like sales data from Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. The same fields are tracked every single time, but yet the data frames are separated for the time being, and we just kind of want to smush them together. So because it's generated by the same process, the columns in each one of the individual data frames should be the same. So we should have column match across the board. Now, does that happen always in practice? No, in practice, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's some slight mismatch. Maybe you track a new feature this quarter or that you didn't track last quarter or something. We can deal with such situations. You can rename columns if there's just a naming convention. You can delete columns if you need to, or you could just deal with the missing values like you would deal with any other missing value. So what does this look like? So imagine we have three constituent data frames, DF1, 2, and 3. They all have the same column names, and they all have separate values. So when we do the concatenation, when we take the union of those things, I'm literally just stacking them on top of each other. So I've got add DF1 here at the top, DF2 in the middle, and DF3 here at the bottom. This resulting data frame is one unified data frame now with 12 rows and 4 columns coming from constituent data frames that each had 4 columns and 4 rows. So this is such a common operation. It comes up all over the place. In SQL, it's called union, and Pandas, it's called pd.concat for concatenation. In R, it's called rbind for row bind, like you're binding rows together. And in SPSS, it's called add cases. Again, it's such a fundamental operation that we can't really get away from it, you know? So how do we do this in Tableau? So let's go back to our book data set. And so the natural candidate here is sales Q1 through Q4. And we can just confirm that when we look at the sales, we've got ISBN, item number, order ID, sale date, and discount for the first one. And if we go and look at the fourth one, it's exactly the same columns. So, and this is true for all of them. So really what I want to do here is make a new union. And I can do this in a couple ways. So for instance, I could drag this here, and well, this is actually a little bit more advanced. We'll do this later. But what you would think is I'm going to drag new union in, and you can do that, and then say, okay, I want these sales data. I went too fast. To select all of these in both Mac and PC, you hold Shift and click the top one. Click the top one, hold Shift, and click the bottom one, and you can drag them. So here we go. We've got our new union. And we can hit OK. And I think I dragged it to the wrong spot, right? So here I have a problem. I've got ISBN and author ID, so it's saying I can't make that relationship for you. So let me remove this thing and show you the other way that I can make a union. So if I just go like this and select all of these things, I can just drag it in, and it will make the union automatically for me. There's no problem. So what we want to do here is actually connect it to addition, and it can be a little tough. You have to like get the noodle just right, you know. And the reason I'm doing addition is that they both have ISBN. ISBN is going to be the connector. And notice here that the relationship between the union and the original data frame is pretty flexible. Again, it's called ISBN lowercase over here and ISBN uppercase over here. And Tableau kind of rolls with the punches. So notice that I can actually drill in here if I want to and see kind of what's going on here. So let's say edit union, and I can see what's going on here. It's important because if you receive one of these data models, sometimes you want to do introspection. You want to look inside and see kind of what's going on with each one of these data frames. To go back, you just click the X to go to the full data model. So that's one way we're going to get around the problems here. But notice that somehow we've even taking the union, we've also now made a relationship. So we haven't gotten away from relationships, but we have extended the functionality of these data models by incorporating this new union concept. So in a future video, we're going to deal with this info issue with a join, a more complicated operation coming right up.